Between the hills, the stars, the sky, the river so clear, river so clear. I will be doing the opening words, and it is a poem that I wrote. It's called The Quiet Place. There is a place quiet where horizons blend and breath comes easily. A place where rain is gentle mist, where light is filtered emerald, and comfort is your skin. There is a place for giving where judgments do not sit and truth rests comfortably. A place where journeys pause, where souls can make their bed and renew themselves as dreamers. There is a place accessible where decisions are made and time is spent with Creator. A place where love is without price, to me and you, to all before and all who follow. The quiet place within your heart where love survives the pain and celebrates each triumph. Okay. We join the Unitarian Universalists all over the world in lighting our chalice, which is a symbol of the spark of life in each of us. If you are on Zoom and have your chalice with you, I invite you to turn on your video to share while we light them. We are in good company. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this gift. Renda is a nurse, a healer, a guide, and a fashionista, as you will know, depending on the day. With a heart as big as North Dakota sky, she has spent over 3 decades in nursing with a special focus on geriatrics and hospice care. She is original from the South Georgia, North Florida region. And in 2023, she became ordained, ensuring that let me start over there. She's somebody just who wants to help everybody and who does. I mean, even just by her being in the room quite often. And in the order of that and her wanting to be there for people, she became ordained, ensuring that no one seeking a spiritual connection would be left without a guiding hand. In December 24, Renda founded North Dakota's first national Nurse Honor Guard chapter, ensuring nurses who dedicated their lives to care are honored with dignity in their final farewell. She also, as in the fashionista order, is an independent cabbie stylist, helping women find confidence in their wardrobe. She's also a proud member of the Rotary. Beyond her professional roles, Renda is a devoted wife to Galen, whom she married in 2022, a long time ago. Yes. Mother to her daughter Brooke and the adoring Gigi, to 3 amazing grandchildren, Stephen 10, Jenna 20, and Jaden 20. And she has these 2 dogs, Loki and Thor, who are very cute, and a very opinionated chinchilla named Spartacus. In her spare time, Renda finds joy behind the cameras and loves escaping to the outdoors. And if you ever have a need to do a snow angel, especially on the first day of snow, there's your girl. Still working full-time as a nurse and juggling her many passions, Renda lives by one simple truth. Life is meant to be lived with purpose, love, and just a little bit of style.
So how many of you know what a doula is? Good, good. So you probably heard of a birth doula that happens at the beginning of life, right? Someone that's there to help the birthing process. Well, a death doula is much like that, except we help the death process. So I would like to ask you, how many of you have made your final wishes known? Good, good. Now, when I say made your final wishes known, I don't mean the will and testament of where all your belongings are going to, but your final wishes, your plans about your funeral arrangements. Have you done that? Fantastic, fantastic. So in the state of North Dakota, we do not have what is called a green burial available. You either have to be buried or cremated. But did you know that you do not have to be embalmed? You knew that. That's perfect. I love that. Okay, so how many of you want someone at your side when you are actively dying? I don't know too many of us that want to die alone. That can be very scary. But how many of you have talked to your family members about death? Good, good. A few of you. Some of you haven't. And death it's a constant. All of us in here are going to experience that, whatever that may look like for you. So, how many of you are afraid of death? Yeah. Death is the fifth leading fear in the United States. And that is scary to me because we should be talking about it. We should be embracing it. And it should be something that we can talk about with our family members and not be afraid. Just this past December, what I did for my birthday was me and my daughter went and we made all my plans. I got them written out and I said, this is what I want and this is what I don't want. Don't come to me with a bunch of hula and crying and all that. I don't want that. You can cry. It's okay to cry. But then I want you to celebrate what I have done in this life. So the song that you wrote was amazing. I would love the words to that if you don't mind sharing those with me. And I have to find where I'm at in my PowerPoint here. Excuse me. Do any of you, have you experienced hospice care? Was it a good experience? And can somebody just tell me why it was good?
My name is Karen, and we experienced it with my mother for a period of about 4 months. It was fabulous. The reason it was wonderful was because hospice came and they treated the whole family. It was full of any kind of help that we wanted. Of course, it helped with the pain management was the first thing. They helped my father. They offered spiritual help if we wanted it. They helped us manage any and all changes. And there were a lot. And they helped us in so many ways.
Okay. And how long was she on hospice? 4 months. Okay. So that was a good experience. And it was probably because you got them in the home or wherever she was early and was able to experience all they had to offer. A lot of people, what they do is they wait till the very last minute. And it's like this. And then the myth is, oh, I called hospice in, so they killed mom or dad or whatever the case is. And that's just not the case. Hospice is there to educate and to allow you to help with the cares too. So educating you into what's happening and what to look for is what helped that journey. Now, an end-of-life doula is like that. We provide the education. We're extra eyes. We do not take the place of hospice or the family. We're there to hold space. So if I was in the home with your mom and I noticed the hospice nurse had left for the day because they are reimbursed by Medicare, so they can only do so much within a time frame, right? So they have to go one visit and that's it, right? One visit every day and that's it. So with a doula, you can stay there as long as the family needs you. You don't have to rush out. And that's the great thing about being an end-of-life doula. If any of you are interested in being an end-of-life doula, you can certainly do it. There's no regulations, but I highly encourage you to get some education. So you would want to be there for the family and the patient in all aspects, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. Not financially so much. Let the family handle that part, but you can still guide them in the direction that they need to go in for the funeral arrangements and whatnot. Are there any questions yet? No? God, y'all are easy. Okay. So does somebody else want to share about their experience with hospice? No? Okay. So an end-of-life doula does have the freedom to be there full-time as long as it's needed. And that is a great experience for the family especially. The patients too, because the patients is our priority, but we're also there to advocate for the family and the patients. A lot of times we don't get that advocacy, especially if we're in an area where we are alone. Some people don't have family members. Some people do not have children. So they don't have someone saying, no, mom would want this done or dad would not want that done. So that's why it's so important to have the advocacy, especially in this day and time when healthcare is so chaotic, right? And I'm not going to get started on insurance companies. But I gave you the handouts that I did because there's some myths and facts. If you'll pull that one out about health directives, healthcare directives, it tells you the differences between the Healthcare Advance Directive, the living will, and the durable power of attorney. Now, a durable power of attorney, a lot of people are confused about that. They think that it's a person that tells somebody what their parent would want, or their sister or brother, their loved one would want. In reality, it's a person that is relaying the patient's wishes, not making medical decisions. Those decisions should have already been made. I don't care if you're 10 or if you're 100. You should have those decisions written down for your loved one. It's very important because here's what happens. It's usually a crisis when someone dies, and then they're waiting to make those decisions. So like if I die today, my daughter doesn't have that responsibility. Those decisions have already been made. So she's not emotional and making a decision. Mom would want the best. She would want the $10,000 coffin, which I don't want, or whatever. So that's what happens is people are making those decisions when they're very emotional. And a lot of times that's not good decisions. So do I have any questions about that? No? Well, I'm going to be done quick. Thank you, Ronnie. Okay.
For whom we're not having the birthday party today. I am her power of attorney.
Okay.
So I sign all of her documents. I am the one that the Touchmark deals with for everything. But what's the difference between a regular power of attorney and a durable power of attorney? I understand that my power of attorney-ness ends the minute Betty dies.
Yes. And there's no difference. There's just that word in there. So there's no difference. You make those decisions for her, and you're an advocate for her. And I have to ask you, are you making the right decisions for Betty? Do you feel like that you're doing the right thing by Betty with every decision you make?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Betty is still mentally with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ask lots of questions.
Good. And that's the key. You ask the questions from her and say, Betty, what do you want? What would you want if this happens or when this happens? What I know Betty, so all her plants, what does she want to do with all her plants? You know,
I've killed most of those already.
Well, there are two powers of attorney, though.
Yes, there
So
are.
I'm wondering if maybe Pat maybe you're maybe you're power of attorney for her
There's a
in
healthcare
two
and a financial.
Yeah.
And you have both of them. Yep. So that's good. You're doing what's fair and right for her. As long as we honor what that person would want, that's the best we can do. Okay, any other questions, Rania?
What is the doula's role in educating the family on those possibilities, on what the legal papers are, matters?
Yeah, so what we would want to do is get in, if you ever want to be a doula, what you want to do is establish that relationship with that family and that patient early and start having those conversations early. And you would want to go through and say, okay, what kind of death do you want? Do you want to be embalmed? Do you want, if you need help having your pants changed because you're incontinent, who do you want doing that? I don't want somebody that I don't know doing it, right? So you need to establish those guidelines, because the worst thing that could happen, we'll just use Betty as an example, is if she needed that and she had a son that she didn't want her son doing it, then why would you want that son in there? You would just say, you know what, Betty told me she really would prefer someone else do it. Can we have somebody else do it? And what we can do also is guide people to the right places. So if you know that they have a bunch of money and they have this big estate, you could guide them to wherever they needed, whoever they needed to talk to get that taken care of and just get it taken away from them. A lot of people hang on at the time of death for a reason. They either want to see somebody that they haven't seen, they want to tie up loose ends. And so that could be a loose end that could be tied up.
Oh, what kind of training? If you can get
Okay.
training, what kind do you get?
So I did the end of life training, the end of life doula training. It's out of Florida, and you can do it online, but it was kind of a repeat for me because I am a nurse. But they do tell you signs and symptoms to look for. That way, when a person goes through these phases when they're dying, and you could kind of look at the symptoms and say, I think this is happening. We should talk to the hospice nurse or whoever is involved. I do want to say, throw in here real quick, if you do not have hospice and someone dies in your home, you have to have it investigated. You have to call the police. Okay, so it's good to have hospice so you don't have to go through that. So you just made me think of that. Thank you. But yeah, so the training is that, and then I got certified through the National End of Life Doula Alliance. So you can do that. It is not free, unfortunately. I am willing to pass along all information that I have. So any worksheets, any workbooks that I obtained, I'm willing to pass that on for free because I think that we need to do this and we need to have it available in North Dakota. Any other questions? I do have some cards, so it has my email and my cell phone number on it. Anyone's can reach out to me. If you go home today or next week and you think of a question you want to know, please email me or call me. I want to help, and I want to build this in North Dakota because we need to support each other. Okay, so grief, I also do grief counseling, so that's that's a good question because people say, oh, get over it. Oh, you should be done with this. Move on. I hate those phrases, and I'm not afraid to get passionate about it. Don't tell me that. So I follow up as much as is needed. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I'm visiting with this young lady. She's only 10. She lost her brother We have been visiting now for over a year, and we do it. She does not live in the state, so I call her every week, and that works for her. If I needed to call her every day, I'd call her every day. So grief is hard, and it's a roller coaster, and that's a whole nother topic that I would love to come visit with you about. But yes, grief is grief, and it's a journey all its own. It's very unique to each individual. So again, I would love the lyrics to that song. Any other questions?
So you mentioned at the beginning about burial options here in North Dakota. Can you talk a little bit more about that? I wasn't aware, and I'd been looking at the legislation and trying to figure out, and I'm planning to move to Minnesota, and I have a green option there, but can you talk about that embalming, and where do you, I mean, is it special spot in a cemetery where they don't embalm, or you still have to have a concrete vault? What's all involved?
Okay, so it depends on each funeral home. The funeral homes unfortunately make some of those rules. Yeah. I'm glad you said that. I didn't have to. So I have nothing against funeral homes, except that I feel like that they sometimes take advantage of emotions. And so to answer your question, Minnesota does have green burial. There's like 22 states in the United States that have green burial options. Montana and North Dakota do not. So your closest one will be Minnesota. So what happens there is it also is according to the cemetery too. Some cemeteries have sections of it sectioned off for green burials, and then the regular burials. So what happens with a green burial is you do not get embalmed. You're basically shrouded in like linen cloths or whatever, and you're put into either a wooden coffin, or some people have wicker or no coffin at all. I think Minnesota, you have to have one though. So you have to check with the laws there. So each state is different. And then you're buried, so you don't have to be embalmed. And in this state, you don't have to be embalmed if you are free of communicable diseases, and if you are going to be, your body's going to be disposed of within 48 hours. Yeah. So you have to do it kind of quick, or you have to be embalmed.
Unitarian congregations in Cincinnati, which is where I'm from originally, and they have jointly bought a property, and they do green burials there on behalf of their members who wish it. And it's, yeah, no embalming, no nothing. The body gets wrapped in a cotton or a linen piece of fabric that will decompose. The body just gets put in the ground. There is no coffin, wicker, wood, or anything. But in Cincinnati, the ground doesn't freeze. So, you know, the old kids saying the worms crawl in and the worms crawl out. That can happen all year long in Cincinnati. Can't happen here. So part of what we're dealing with is the fact that the ground freezes and that body will not decompose here, or not decompose as fast as it needs to.
Yes. And then you have, and again, I'm not saying anything about cemeteries, because cemeteries they have their purpose, but they take up a lot of land too. And if I had land to donate, I probably would donate it for that. That would be a great option. But then that goes back to the embalming too. If I can't be buried for 5 months because of the ground frozen, then you're kind of stuck. Another thing I want to mention is that you have the expense of burials, right? And that, to me, all that stuff, the embalming, the big coffins that don't decompose for years and years, all of that's bad for the environment. Cremation is also bad for the environment, People don't realize that either, but the gases that it emits to cremate somebody is astronomical. So some people don't realize that either.
I guess what I'm wondering is how do you deal with that personally to make sure that people get the care that you provide? How do you deal with that stigma and educate people that your services can help?
Okay. I will tell you that North Dakota has been very difficult. And I love North Dakota. Do not get me wrong. I've been here since 2017, so I do love North Dakota. It's my home now. But it's very, the thought process is very hard to break through. Even when they hear the word hospice, it's like the conversation's over. I don't want to talk about it. So it's very difficult, but you do find they will give little hints, and then you answer those questions, and then they will start opening up more. So you meet them wherever they are, first of all. And second of all, we can't judge. So my belief may be totally different from someone else's. So I have to meet them where they are. And even if I don't believe what they believe, it's okay. I can still serve that person in some form or fashion.
We extinguish the chalice with these closing words. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. The choir will be sending us out with a song in just a moment, but I would like to close today's service with a Jewish prayer found in our Gray Psalm book. It is number 507 if you'd like to say it with me or follow along. Grant us the ability to find joy and strength, not in the strident call to arms, but in stretching out our arms to grasp our fellow creatures in the striving for justice and truth.
Put a little love in your heart.